they're in danger of being bounced in 5 games for the third year in a row, even though this time it will be in the second round instead of the first. And if you're a team that has legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations, winning 5 when your plan is to win 16 is simply not good enough.
Let's bring in Ken Wiebe of the Winnipeg Free Press because we got a lot of questions about the Winnipeg Jets. Ken, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Great to be with you. And DJ, I don't want to pile on either, but before you corrected yourself, I had you as a Avs disrespecter until you made a qualifier at the end of that road as well.
Okay, fantastic. Let's respect the Winnipeg Jets while we are still able to do it. Can they come back in this series?
Well, they can, but as Pete has pointed out, it's going to take a little bit of a table turn coming up for the Jets. They have gotten away from quite a few things that made them successful during the regular season. I think that is definitely accurate, especially on the road. Their structure that had made them a back-to-back Jennings Trophy winner for allowing the fewest goals against. There's been too much unraveling. It's goals in bunches. Yes, we saw Kickgate in Game 3, but they gave up a goal less than a minute later. That's not like them. They've had the roof caved in by the St. Louis Blues on several of those occasions. As you guys also referenced, league's best power play during the regular season is on the frosty side. 1 for 16 in the series, not great overall, but this has been an issue since prior to Four Nations. So, I mean, this is one of those things where, there have been some dips on that front. They've had some chances, but you got to produce. I mean, guys, this is crazy. This is one of the wildest stats in these Stanley Cup playoffs and going back to the regular season. Kyle Connor, one of the most prolific goal scorers in the NHL, had 9 power play goals this year, guys. His last one came on December 23rd against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's over half a season ago. And again, Kyle Connor is a great player, having a great year, and still was among the leaders with 9 power play goals. But it's been a while since he had one. The breakaway yesterday, great chance. He was slashed by Heiskanen, but DJ, you said it wasn't a close game. I mean, if he scores on the shorthanded goal there, it's a 2-2 game. So I would counter that the game was pretty tight right until the Granlund power play marker. But it's a fact. The Jets are not operating on all cylinders. In terms of the fraud squad thing, my counter to that would be, I don't know a lot of fraud squads that have scored 2 goals at 6-on-5 in the last 2 minutes of a Game 7 to win a series that most thought was over at that point. But they definitely have another level that they have to reach if they want to get out of this first round, or a second round, pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, for the fraud squad thing, like I felt like their Achilles heel was always going to be the lack of depth scoring. They got so many goals from so few players during the regular season, or I guess like it was kind of top heavy at the top of their lineup, and those guys have gone quiet. And you mentioned Kyle Connor. He's had his opportunities. He just kind of hasn't buried a lot of the goals that you expect him to. And if he's not doing that, and if Scheifele's not doing that, and Connor Hellebuyck isn't at his best, this team is absolutely screwed.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about the fact that the top end, I mean, it's been steady, but not maybe at a ridiculous. They're not at a Mikko Rantanen pace, right? I mean, that's also a fact. During the year, the depth scoring was there, though, Pete. They had multiple guys in double digits. Their defense, they had 2 guys on the back end, Pionk and Morrissey, in double digits. But, in the playoffs, you need secondary scoring. And let's not forget, Pete DeBoer absolutely torched his guys for having no secondary scoring after Game 2, and they were shut out 4-0. And lots of folks in the market that I work in thought it was going to be Jets in 5, and they were just going to roll them over. But things changed quickly in the playoffs. Mikael Granlund has woken up and have been great in the last 2 games. Rope Hintz, who had just 1 single assist in the first 2 games, he's been dynamite in the last 2. So, hey, guess what? If you're the Jets and you're a secondary scorer, time to step up your game. Like, this is very simple. If you want the narrative to go away, change the narrative. That's as simple as it gets. This is not a media creation. The facts are the Jets were bounced in 5 games by the Vegas Golden Knights. They were bounced in 5 games by the Colorado Avalanche. They survived a Game 7, but if they don't win on Thursday night, they're in danger of being bounced in 5 games for the third year in a row, even though this time it will be in the second round instead of the first. And if you're a team that has legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations, winning 5 when your plan is to win 16 is simply not good enough.
How important is it for them to, I say, not only extend this series, but win a game on the road? Because the Jets are unlike other teams in that when you have good players and you can keep good players, you must do that. However, if They lose in somewhat embarrassing fashion, and the headlines are President's Trophy winning team couldn't win a game on the road at all. Went 2 rounds without winning a game on the road. Connor Hellebuyck for the second straight postseason was at the best very questionable. Other organizations would think this is the point at which we make changes, but the Jets I will never really see as that team because, like I said, when you have star players, you kind of got to keep them. So how important is it for them to get something done in at least these next 2 games to not put themselves in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point, DJ, for sure. I mean, we know what happened to Boston the year that they won the President's Trophy, also. So like it happens, but that team is now in a little bit different mode here. But the Jets have doubled down on their core. This is not new. It's not a new development. By signing Scheifele and Hellebuyck to those matching 7-year extensions, they are locked in on this core. Yes, they have a big decision coming with Nikolai Ehlers and a big decision coming with Kyle Connor, but the bulk of their core is locked up long term. And Kevin Cheveldayoff, the general manager, has doubled down and tripled down on that group. So they're the only ones that can change the narrative and that they can go deep. Like now 2 playoff series wins since 2018. And DJ, to your point about the road woes, it's not just this year. It's 9 games in a row dating back. Their last road win was game 1 against Vegas in 2022. What's my math there? 2022. Yeah. Or 3. Sorry.
3. Yeah.
Either way, 23. 10 games, 9 games is too many. And they would do almost anything to get a chance to have that avoid reaching double digits on Saturday here. But it's just one of those wild things. The Jets had 26 road wins during the year, guys. That was the most, I think, in the NHL. They didn't have the best road record, but they had the most road wins. So this is sort of a new development. And yeah, sure, the matchup game is part of it, but this is a team that prided itself on its defensive structure. Hey, like these guys were like Tampa. Before Tampa won the cup, they didn't defend well. Before the Jets, had Rick Bowness and Scott Arniel come in as an associate, defense was often optional for them. So they made a bunch of these strides, but it hasn't been applicable in the playoffs as often, and especially not on the road, which is baffling that, as you guys mentioned in the first round, Hellebuyck didn't even get out of a game on the road. He got pulled in all 3 games. So, it hasn't been as, I think people aren't pointing the finger at Hellebuyck in the second round here, but he's the second best goalie in the series right now to Jake Oettinger. And DJ, what happened last year in the Western Conference Final? Stuart Skinner outplayed Jake Oettinger, which is one of the reasons they went to the Cup final and the Stars didn't. And there was disbelief in that, right? I mean, most people outside of Oilers fans thought the Stars were the heavy favorite and had this massive advantage in goal. It didn't end up being the case. And this was right after Skinner lost his net to Winnipegger Calvin Pickard in the previous round. So things are just a little bit off kilter, I guess, if you will. Hellebuyck has been good at home, as you touched on. And I like the fact that he was out there yesterday talking after the game. I mean, we know this has been a bit of a storyline here, and he's a very much a power of positivity person, but I like that he's shown a little bit more of a human side here and, was sour about the goal he let in from Granlund from the top of the circles yesterday. He didn't come right out and say, I should have had it, but, prior to the game last round, after he got pulled in St. Louis, he said, I'm going to be better. So this is your chance. I mean, Connor Hellebuyck has the ability to change the narrative. He's the best regular season goalie on the planet. But if you want to get out of the first round, there's going to have to be a superhuman effort at some point. He's famous for making the difficult saves look routine, but he's got to make a few more saves. And that just doesn't apply to Hellebuyck. This isn't a one-man show. If the Jets are going to rally, they need more from their top guns. As you mentioned, Pete, Kyle's got to do more. Mark Scheifele's got to do more. The secondary scorers have got to do more. The power play's got to be better. Penalty kills got to be better. And the goaltending's got to be better. Other than that, it's going great right now for them. But, 72 shot attempts yesterday should have been enough to generate on Jake Oettinger. But Oettinger came up with those timely saves. The one great backdoor save on Kyle Connor with the left pad after the setup by Iafallo. That's exceptional. And this is the other part, guys. This is the one big thing about the Stars. They're not unraveling. Jake Oettinger let in a stinker. Let's be real here. I mean, the Ehlers goal is a smart look off to the back door, but that can't be getting through the wickets at this time of the year. But you know what happened after that? Jake Oettinger slammed the door shut and made sure there were no more that got by him. So despite his first softie of the series, Ottinger still won the goalie battle, and that's what the Jets are going to need from Hellebuyck at least once during the course of the next 3 games, if 3 games are played.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because like they said on the ESPN broadcast, they were like, if Hellebuyck let up that goal that Ottinger did, he would be getting killed. But the difference is that when Hellebuyck lets up the first goal, it often seems like the first step in an unraveling, and that didn't happen with Ottinger. I did want to ask you, like, what level, assuming that the Jets do not come back from this, what level of heat is Hellebuyck going to carry in the offseason? Because obviously this is not a one playoff thing at this point, but he has taken a little bit of heat off of himself, has he not, in the second round? Like, how much of that blame is he going to carry in that heat in the offseason?
Yeah, Pete, I mean, I would put it this way. Last year, Connor Hellebuyck was a story in the series against the Colorado Avalanche. He gave up 24 goals in 5 games. And no, there weren't a lot of softies in there, but his response was going out and winning a 3rd Vezina trophy, conceivably, and being a Hart Trophy finalist. So he went back in the lab and made himself better, but it hasn't translated into fully changing the narrative about playoff Hellebuyck. Now, winning a round in a game 7 in a wild fashion was helpful to that cause, but when a Vezina 3-time or soon to be 3-time Vezina Trophy winner is pulled in 3 road games in the first round and his goals against is close to 6, now that's tough. So there will be heat for sure, but I mean, this isn't a scenario, guys, where, and again, I'm not saying you're suggesting this, but this isn't a scenario where the Jets are going to say in year 2 of a 7-year deal, would you like to buy low on playoff Hellebuyck here? This is not how, like, they believe in Connor Hellebuyck and he believes in them. So I don't think this is a scenario where the Jets are suddenly shopping Hellebuyck if they don't get out of the second round. Now, Connor, as a guy who has outwardly said on countless occasions, I don't care about Vezinas. All I want to do is win the Stanley Cup. If the playoffs end with only 5 victories, that's going to be fuel for him, but he's also going to carry that with him. And that's a tough burden to carry. I mean, flat out, guys, Connor Hellebuyck said after round 1 was complete, he felt like the weight of the world was lifted off of his shoulders. And, by getting a shutout in game 2 against Dallas, I think a lot of people were thinking, well, maybe he has turned the corner completely. But the one piece of that puzzle, which has still been a bit of an issue, has been the road play. Now, again, not a ton of softies in the 2 games, but in a series like this against Dallas, which is playing well, and DJ, I would just counter, I mean, Rantanen's been unreal. I don't think this is just the Stars sleepwalking through the series here. I mean, Rantanen's putting forth one of the, this is not quite McDavid levels, but like this is pretty impressive. I mean, he had goals on 17 of the previous 19 goals scored. I mean, this is Mario Lemieux territory here. So, and then getting Heiskanen back has been big for them. Thomas Harley's been an absolute beast in this series. But I mean, your point is very accurate. Jason Robertson's just getting back up to speed. Jamie Benn has not really chipped in much in this series. Sagan hasn't really gotten going the way that we've all seen him perform before. Matt Duchene's got a paltry 4 playoff power play assists in the first round and none in the second. So, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I think that's kind of erasing what Rantanen has done. And I mean, Roope Hintz still one of the best 2-way players in the game here too. So I don't think this is necessarily the Jets folding, but I mean, they definitely got to find another level. I mean, Vladislav Nemestikov had to step up when Scheifele got hurt. He's got no points this round. Ehlers starting to try to change a narrative of his own with 3 goals in this series after having 4 in his first 40 playoff games as a pending UFA. So there's a lot of narratives flying around. And, if the Jets are to extend their season, they're going to need some of those guys to keep changing pieces of the narrative. Again, these are not media creations. We're just reporting the facts, right? I mean, that's part of what our job is.
All right, Ken. Well, hopefully you can report on at least, I'm hoping at least 2 more wins. I would love to see Winnipeg come back in this series, mainly because I fear the Stars for the Oilers in the next round. But we spent so much time this year being like, it's easy to say that they're just going to fold in the postseason. And at least I kind of bought in during the regular season. And now it just seems so easy to be like, oh, of course it's happening again. So as you said, Ken, they can change the narrative. Thank you very much for joining us, my friend.
Yep, pleasure to be with you guys. Enjoy the postseason. Always enjoy what you do, and who knows, could see you a round or two down the road. Who knows? Otherwise, have a great rest of the playoffs here. Take care, fellas.
We all silly like the mayor.